SportsTalk.com. Richard Cross joins us, one of the hosts of Sports Talk. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
My friend, good morning. Here in North Mississippi, I look out the window and I see giraffes and elephants and monkeys all going 2 by 2 after there was a run on Gopherwood at the local big box store. Goodness gracious, it's raining.
Is it that heavy?
It's not that heavy. It's just that it's been doing it for hours and is going to continue for hours. I don't think we're going to get 40 days and 40 nights out of it, but it's wet. It's wet.
Do you know there is such a thing as raining cats and dogs?
Tell me more.
Well, I think that you know that, Perez. I mean,
you tell me.
Dogs were the what do you call them, the little fish or the salamander or something like that, and the cats, I'm not sure, would probably small catfish, but they have been known to be brought up as far as the eggs in the evaporation process and distributed by heavy rains. That's what I learned on the Weather Channel or somewhere.
Richard, I think he's making this up. I think he just made that up on the spot.
Richard, first of all, you guys have developed a heck of a following in the afternoons, and I'm one of the people who sit there and watch you, and I'm thinking, why am I watching this? But it is very entertaining on C Spire Channel 70. But you guys have done a great job, and it's the place to be in the afternoons if you want to find out what's going on sports.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. We try to have a lot of fun. We try to be informative and not take ourselves too seriously. And, Paul, I know you're a baseball fan and have been for a long time. Maybe you lean more in the direction of Major League Baseball than you do college baseball. I am a baseball fan, and so that kind of shapes the way we look at this. But more importantly, the state of Mississippi cares so very deeply about college baseball. And I have said this and will say this until I'm blue in the face. There's not another radio show in America that devotes as much time to college baseball as we do. And I believe that. And, it's really, really cool that all three head coaches, Scott Berry at Southern Miss, Chris Lamonis at Mississippi State, Mike Bianco at Ole Miss, for 3 straight years now have been willing to say, every Monday, win, lose, or draw, regardless of what we do, we'll be with you because we know fans care about it. Know you guys care about it. And I think it's been a really big part of what we do, and I think people care about that. And I don't know, man. I just hope this college baseball thing in Mississippi continues to grow and grow and grow because it is special.
Yeah, Richard, you guys did the narrative you had probably more than once, but I know a couple of times I've caught this. And it's something that just it didn't materialize overnight. It has to be cultivated, and we cultivated that. Success breeds success. Because baseball always wasn't what it was. And, I mean, and you guys have pointed out in some other colleges, for instance, Alabama or places such as that. Now, it is happening in Arkansas by virtue of the teams and the way they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, when you want to look nationally at the biggest crowds, the best stadiums, there are 4. Right? I mean, there's LSU, who has kind of been standard bearer, and there's Arkansas with, that's more recent, and there's Mississippi State, and there's Ole Miss. And, people love to get into, stadium ranking debates, who's got the best college baseball stadium, and who's got the best fan base, and who's got the biggest crowds. And, some of that is objective, some of that is subjective, but the bottom line is those 4 are at a different level in terms of passion and attendance and commitment. And it's just really, really cool that 2 of them reside in the state of Mississippi. But please don't take that as I'm putting a slight on Southern Miss, because in Hattiesburg, you're talking about average attendance that is top 20 nationally. They've really invested in Pete Taylor Park. And look, I just could not have any more respect than I do for Scott Berry, the Southern Miss baseball program, and the way that team plays. I mean, it's a takeoff on his personality. They are grinders, and they play so hard, and they take all 27 outs, and not a team you want to play.
I do want to talk about what's coming up next, but one more thing on baseball. I'm not a purist, but I don't like the way that they want to change this. To placate millennials or to placate television or whatever it happens to be when they come up with some of these changes. I guess I am a purist in that manner because the game is not football. The game is not any other sport. It's baseball, and you look at what baseball is, and you enjoy the merits of the game itself. And I hate it when people start talking about, well, you need to speed this up. No, it's baseball.
Yeah. I would go kind of both directions. There's some things that don't bother me that probably bother some baseball purists. We're talking about bat flips and whatever, celebrations that are not traditionally what you would expect to see when you watch a baseball game. I think that stuff's fun, and I think it's maybe trying to help bring in some new fans. But going to extra innings and starting with a runner on second base,
that's crazy.
Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing?
That is sissification of baseball, and it's got to stop. That's just crazy that's happened. And then the Atlanta thing is a whole new thing that we could talk about, but we don't have a lot of time, so I do want to get on this. Where do we go from here?
Mississippi State goes nowhere, and I mean that in the best sense possible, because they were a top 8 national seed. They will be back at Dudy Noble again this weekend, and my goodness, what a weekend it's going to be, because they've got Notre Dame coming in. Paul, how about this? Notre Dame, I used the phrase yesterday on the radio to a smaller audience than normal because of the games that were going on. It appeared that Notre Dame had a case of the red rear. They were awfully frustrated with not being one of the top 8 national seeds, and they went out to try and prove to the world that they deserve to be. Over the course of 3 games against their 3 opponents this past weekend, they outscored them 50-5. 50-5. And so that team is now headed to Starkville this weekend. It's going to be a great series. Notre Dame won 25 games in the ACC this year. It was a down year for the ACC. It's a really good team, and this is going to be one of those weekends. Here's hoping the weather cooperates in Starkville, where the legend is made and the legend grows with regard to attendance and atmosphere, and just how great it is. A little bit longer trip for Ole Miss. Of course, the winner from yesterday's Ole Miss Southern Miss game, hanging in the balance, was a trip to Tucson, Arizona, where Friday, Saturday, Sunday the highs are 105, 108, 109.
Dry heat.
That's what I hear. Yeah. So is an oven. No, I think it's gonna be cool. That's a big ballpark that Arizona plays in. It's a former minor league facility that has kind of become the home for Arizona baseball. It's called High Corbett Field. Big ballpark, 350 down the lines, 410 to straightaway center field. Seats about 9,500. I have no idea what kind of a crowd Ole Miss will take. Arizona draws pretty well. I mean, that's not going to be a Starkville, Oxford, Fayetteville type atmosphere, but they will probably have 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 at the games. So it'll be good. Arizona, they've been a pretty good team out on the West Coast. They pitch it pretty well, and they've really been swinging it throughout the season. So huge opportunity. I will be interested to see what Ole Miss does with its rotation after throwing Doug McCasey again yesterday on short rest, if they hold him for game 2.
Everybody healthy, as far as you know, on both Ole Miss and Mississippi State?
I mean, from yesterday to this weekend, I think so. Obviously, one of the big storylines this year for Ole Miss has been injuries. With the really cool story from Tim Elko, tore his ACL in early April, missed 26 games, came back, started out as a pinch hitter, and has been in the everyday lineup for the last 3 weeks. With a torn ACL, he's got 6 home runs. Was named most outstanding player of the Oxford Regional. Of course, Gunnar Hoagland is out after having Tommy John surgery. Mississippi State, I think, in pretty good shape going into the weekend. They dealt with some injuries early in the season, but have managed to stay relatively healthy throughout the way. So it appears to be all systems go as we head toward the weekend.
Do believe that the attendance was knocking over 10,000 at both locations, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think Mississippi State was a little shy of that in their first game on Friday afternoon. They elected to play the early game, but really big crowds on Saturday and Sunday. Well, not Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and yesterday for Mississippi State. I think this coming weekend will pale, though, or maybe this past weekend will pale in comparison to what it's going to be like this weekend. And Ole Miss was over 10,000 for all 4 games that they played in. Great atmosphere. A little smaller crowd yesterday than the previous 2 days because they were supposed to play at 6, and then they pushed it up to noon because of rain, and then it got delayed to 2:30 because of rain. And it was funny. It was a crowd that kind of grew as the game went along, as people got off work and hustled over to the ballpark.
Well, if we're placing a bet not on the game but on the weather, I'd place it on Arizona. I think we could figure it out a little bit better. Richard, as always,
drought wins.
As always, a pleasure, sir. We will be watching this afternoon at 3 o'clock and listening.
Thanks, my friend.
You got it, Richard.